we have a great fireside chat with Boden. Rachel Thornton is the head of CRM at Boden, and she's going to be joined on stage with Alison Lindland. So let's give them a really warm welcome to the stage.
How's things going, everyone? Oh, guys, come on, you can do better than that. I know it's the afternoon. Okay, well, I am very, very excited for this because I am known at Movable as like the biggest Boden fan ever in America, if that is possible. I'm excited to give you a little bit of a longer intro to Rachel Thornton. She is, of course, the head of CRM at Boden. She has worked for over 20 years as a multi-channel marketing expert in all sorts of retail businesses, focused on delivering results through designing customer-focused communication strategies, then planning and executing engaging marketing campaigns. Her previous roles across various retail sectors, from fashion to furniture and flowers, focused on using insights and data to plan strategies that increase customer value, growing loyalty, and driving sales growth. With a wealth of experience aligning marketing comms to both brand values and trading expectations, Rachel enjoys finding that sweet spot of combining the data-driven side of commerce with the human touch and building an emotional connection with customers. Welcome, Rachel. Come on down. Bring those spotty green pants on in here, Rachel. Yes, we are so excited to have you. Come on in, take a seat. Okay. So now, Rachel, I, of course, need no introduction to Boden, which is, of course, my favorite British brand. But we've got people watching online all over the world, and some of them might be a little bit less familiar with Johnny's brand. So can you tell us a little bit about the history of Boden?
Sure, yeah. So Boden was started a little over 30 years ago by Johnny Boden, who is very, very much involved in the business still. He's always around the office, always says a cheery hello to everyone.
With the dog still?
With the dog passed.
They're not a successor dog?
No, the dog passed.
No, oh no.
No, I know, it's very, very, very sad. Sprout.
No.
Sprout was, the dog was always around the office.
Bless.
I know,
Okay.
R.I.P. Sprout. Sorry. We won't talk about the dog.
Okay, we'll edit that out. Yeah.
So we sell women's wear and children's clothing. We are now a global brand. All the clothes are designed in-house by an absolutely amazing design team. We have a bit of a saying at Boden: we don't just sell clothes, we sell feelings. Yes. And it really is about that. It's like, you know, when you put on an amazing dress, Boden dress, well done, or, you know, a really flattering outfit, and you just think, I feel good. So really that's what Boden is all about.
I 100% know that feeling, and I was saying earlier, when I get your direct mail, which is some of my most favorite direct mail to get at home, I often look through the catalog, and it is about that feeling that you guys are sending, especially, I'd say, a lot to working mothers and to families. And Claire, the makeup artist who was in the back, when I was talking to her about this panel, she was saying, I love those emails. You guys have such a fun voice, and that you had sent out, I think it was an oops email, and she was saying that, she loved how cheeky it was, right? So you guys have this really amazing voice that is so specific that people really love and are very inspired by. So.
Yeah, and that's really important. And it does come from Johnny. It is that kind of cheeky, kind of a bit quirky. It was an apology campaign that we've sent out to kind of long-standing customers, and it's been received really well. It was slightly off-center, but I think that's what works so well with it.
That's great. Okay, great. So we just got your intro, but tell us more about the programs that you oversee and why they're so important to the Boden customer.
So at Boden, we do send a lot of emails. Last year, we sent about 285 million newsletter sends. I did double check that number a few times to make sure it was right. So we send around 40 individual campaigns each week, and that is across the 7 markets that we operate in. As a channel, we're responsible for anything between kind of 15 to 20% of site traffic, and a similar amount of demand. So an individual women's wear customer, for example, perhaps yourself, might receive anything from 4 all the way up to 7 emails a week, but that's sort of depending on the trading calendar, the promotional calendar, and then also your level of engagement with the emails.
Sure. So can you talk about the team that's supporting that very, very busy calendar?
They're amazing.
Hey, raise your hands, guys. Take some credit.
So we manage everything in-house with the team. So that's everything from planning the email calendar, briefing copy and creative into our internal studio, artwork in all the individual emails into the kind of the localized market versions, through to building and then delivering those emails into customers' inboxes. So there's 7 of us in total on the team. That is kind of split into the creative planning side and then also the build and delivery team. There's 3 guys, 2 of them are here, who build and deliver all of those, I think it's about 2,000 emails a year, so it's a lot. So also responsible for all of the kind of automated trigger programs at Boden. So at the moment we've got about 20 of those campaigns live, but obviously within those there might be multiple sends. Sure. So for example, if you place your first order with Boden, you get put into our nursery journey. I think there's about 8 sends within that over a number of months, and then multiply that across all the different markets that we operate in as well. So as you can imagine, we are always looking to increase response whilst minimizing complexity. So kind of efficiency is a key objective of ours.
Absolutely. So just curious, who here in the audience gets these emails from this prolific team? Show of hands. Okay, cool. All right, so how about a round of applause for this very busy team that's sending all these emails? Bravo, guys. Amazing work. So tell us a little bit about the tech stack that's underpinning all this work.
Sure. So we use Cheetah, or now known as Marigold, as our ESP. Yeah. And we send all of our kind of newsletter campaigns through them, and most of our trigger campaigns as well. And then obviously we use Movable to power all the dynamic content within our emails.
Amazing. And actually, you know, fun fact, when you and I were prepping, I had to share with you that you are one of the first clients that we had in the UK. And you guys were pretty legendary and pioneering and doing some really, really innovative things with Movable back in the day. We sort of joke that you guys sort of invented data visualization and like the original Spotify Wrapped, because you did like this incredible year in review email that you know, one of our clients famously from Amex was sitting in her office here in London, and she got it, and it was sort of this like history of everything you'd bought in Boden, and it was a sort of a look back at all these like mini Boden items that she'd bought. And, you know, she got really emotional because it was like, you know, it was like 2 years ago that you got your first Spotty package in the mail, and it contained, you know, this like newborn package, you know, and she started crying at her desk, you know, and she said, this is it. This is like the gauntlet has been thrown for the type of emails that I want to create, you know, and it was by Boden, really. And it just sort of like set the bar for what she wanted to do. And you know, and that was Boden. That was like about, I think it was about 9 years ago.
I think so, yeah.
It's amazing what you guys have done and what you really sort of continue to do. So let's talk about those newsletters that you were mentioning before. How is that program marketed today, and how has it really evolved since its inception?
So our newsletter emails have previously been sort of what is often known as batch and blast. So it's very much taken a kind of a one-size-fits-all approach. So all customers who get them see the same message. Yeah. So whether that's talking about new in product launch, a particular product story, knitwear, denim, whatever it might be, and equally also the sort of sale and promo launches. Yeah, so there's a few examples up here. See my team, Sam's smiling. She briefs all these in. That's all this wonderful creative done. So whilst they are beautiful and very effective, because they're batch and blast, they are not at all personalised. Obviously, they make up for that a little bit with the sheer kind of volume of the sends. The issue is we knew that the revenue per send from these newsletter emails was much lower than than what was generated from our kind of automated trigger programs. And obviously the reason for that is those trigger programs are really personalised. So by definition, all trigger programs are personalised. Yeah. So whether that's because they're sent due to the life cycle stage a customer is at. So I mentioned earlier, so if you place a first order with us, you get put in our nursery programme. Equally, if we identify you as reaching potentially a kind of a point of lapse, we will put you in a churn programme. Equally, it could be a behavioural trigger as well. So if you buy from a category, knitwear or jersey dresses, then we trigger a post-purchase journey based on that category you got. And again, it's something that, it's very common, but something like you've been browsing the site, you put something in your basket, and we trigger an abandoned basket email to you. So
you want to just walk us
yeah,
through
there's a few examples up there. So I think the first two are in our nursery program, and you can see very colourful. We have got some dynamic content in there, the product grids. That's based on what you purchased in your first order. We've got a browse behaviour email there, so if you've been looking at our new in pages, but we haven't quite convinced you to buy yet, you might receive that. We have knitwear post-purchase, so you bought a piece of knitwear, we talked to you a bit more about that. And then I think that's the re-engagement campaign as well, trying to engage you back in the emails to click and come back into our engaged base. So because of the relevancy and the timeliness, we can actually expect to see an uplift in revenue per send from trigger emails over the the non-personalised newsletter of over 100%. So looking at revenue per send, for example, UK email for our newsletter, all different types of newsletters, including sale and very high generating promo ones, we might get 16p revenue per send. For a life cycle or trigger campaign program, we might see more like 35p. So it's quite a big uplift. But the flip side is obviously those trigger campaigns are much smaller volume, really, really small sends. So the challenge we set ourselves as a team was, how can we harness the power of personalisation and relevancy from the trigger campaigns within the mass volume sends of the newsletters and increase the revenue per send of those newsletters accordingly.
Right, okay. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
So, first up, we harnessed the brain power of the team, of course. We knew the answer would be in creating templated emails, newsletter emails, that used dynamic content blocks to display personalised content. And I know loads of people here have been to lots of the presentations earlier, and this is obviously a theme. That's the critical thing to do. We ran a number of workshops within the email team, and we wanted to come up with, there's the workshop, look at that. That's a lovely Miro board full of creative inspiration.
Love Miro.
I love
it's so helpful though.
It is. If you're a visual person, which I am, I find it really useful, and it's great for collaboration. Anyway, this isn't sponsored by Miro or anything.
Though they can sponsor next year if they'd like to.
So within the workshops, what we did was we came up with a number of ideas for these reusable content blocks. But then what we did was we grouped those into themed personalised emails. So it was really important to us that it didn't look like just a random selection of images thrown together for no good reason.
Email.
Exactly. We wanted it to feel like it was really curated and edited for the customer.
It's like an outfit.
Exactly.
So pulled together.
So I think we've probably got some examples as well coming up. So just, these are some of the emails we come together, and obviously this is like a moment in time. They wouldn't look like this to everybody who received them. They are personalised. What have we got? We've got a must-haves email, so that showcases best-selling must-have products. We've got selected for you, which is all around product recommendations. And then the one that I've just pulled out a little bit more detail on the individual blocks is our personal style file. So that showcases products recommended for the customer. So that top section, the hero is, we have a model called dominant category model. We have some really smart people in our analytics team at work. The data has shown us that at Boden, mostly if you buy from a particular category, you continue to buy from that category. So you're a jersey dresses buyer, that's where your heart is.
Absolutely.
So what we did is we built a model which identifies those patterns of buying behaviour, and as soon as you reach a point where you've got a dominant category that's tagged and flagged against your record. So what we do is we showcase more of that product in that particular content block. The middle section will pull through a more general, but most products most bought from the site, or we can do it on most viewed, or we can use social proofing in that element. And then at the bottom, we've got UGC, which we know is really important to our customers as well. So that is kind of a range of emails that we might send. And as I say, it could potentially look different to everyone who gets that email.
Of course, because it's personalized, Exactly.
Exactly.
And how are you using Movable Ink in this?
So there are a number of different ways that we use Movable Ink. So obviously, all the content in this email would be powered by Movable Ink. So I've mentioned the dominant category. That's really important for us. It kind of scrapes from the relevant section of the website to display that. The bestsellers from the range. And then another area that we use, or a really important component, is browse behavior. So if you've been on the site, you've been looking at a particular product, when this newsletter email comes through, we might well pull in that product that you've been looking at. So in that way, we just try to make sure that the emails are kind of filled with content that is really personal and relevant to each individual customer.
That's great. Okay, so tell us about the results.
So it's really interesting, actually. We don't actually see that the Perso emails always win on click-through rate. You might think that would be the case. Where we do see the uplift is in conversion. So once they've clicked through to the site, and obviously this is based on last click. But we have seen, the data is showing us that actually for a customer clicking through from a personalised email, we get conversion uplifts of around 30% on a non-personalised email. And obviously that makes the emails much more efficient as well. So if we're looking at the revenue per send metric I mentioned before, again, we generate 30%-ish uplift on revenue per send as well.
Amazing, because it gets out of the hair of this terrific team.
Exactly.
So now what's next?
So obviously always work to do. There's loads of optimization we can do. So anything from kind of looking at the current content blocks we're using and thinking how can we kind of optimize those, how can we make them even more targeted to what other apps can we use within the studio to create new ones. So one thing that we're definitely looking at is the UGC section. So I keep pointing down there, sorry everybody, it's up there, I can see it down there. So the UGC section at the moment, so we use our partner StoryStream and just kind of pull that through into the email, which is great, but not personalized. So kind of the next step is using Movable Ink to make that a personalised pull from the site. So dominant category, you will see customers wearing jersey dresses if that's your dominant category. Or if you've been on the site looking at a particular product, we'll try to ensure that the UGC, the customers are shown wearing the product that you've been looking at. So that's just so that customers can visualise and see other people like them wearing the clothes that they are potentially interested in buying, either because they've been looking at them or it's something that they've bought before.
Amazing.
The other thing I'd say, and again, this is definitely a theme from before the Net-a-Porter guys were talking about it, and it's just kind of trying to bring the business along on the journey. So, complete honesty, we do struggle sometimes to keep these type of emails in the schedule. Sam, she has that battle every day. We get asked to obviously fill the email calendar with lots and lots of emails telling the product stories that the brand want to tell, of course. And that's really, really important. We're very proud of our range. We've got lovely stuff to talk about. But equally, we know it's really, really important to show the customer what they're interested in as well, and not just make the assumption that because we're talking about denim this week, but that's what they want to see.
That's your priority.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really it. I suppose it's just kind of bringing the brand and the creative teams and the product team along on the journey with us, really, I suppose, convincing them of the power of personalisation.
Yeah, I think every marketer in the room today understands that struggle. So, Rachel, thank you so much. Maybe you'll come back next year and give us an update on how that goes.
I shall do.
Terrific.
Absolutely.
Well, but thank you again. This was so inspirational, and we really appreciate this this panel. So terrific.
Thank
All right,
you.
round of applause for Rachel. Thanks, everyone.